guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Samantha, and if you're not new here, welcome back. As you can see by the title of the video, I'm going to be talking about my first trimester recap, where I'll discuss my symptoms, cravings, and everything in between, and all the weird things that come with the first trimester. So if you're interested or you're currently pregnant, please stay tuned and keep watching. One thing I should mention is that none of these symptoms are in a particular order per se. I tried to, but yeah, I wasn't really keeping track of it at the time. So this is just an overall list of what I experienced in my first trimester. Certain things lasted longer than others and came in and out on different weeks. But overall, this is pretty much what happened within the first 12 to 14 weeks of my pregnancy. So one of the very first things that I experienced was a missed period. Obviously, that's something that pretty much every pregnant woman experiences, because you can't really get a period while you're pregnant, I don't think. So that was a huge indicator for me. By day 5 or 6 of my period being late, I knew something was up, so I did take a test. Was not trying, so that was a big surprise. If you want to know how I found out I was pregnant and the story behind that, you can just check out my last video. But yeah, I didn't really have anything abnormal indicating that I was pregnant prior to me missing my period. But I did have a few symptoms, which were sore nipples, implantation bleeding, which I just thought was regular spotting, and also fatigue. So with the sore nipples, that's something that I usually experience before my periods anyway, so that wasn't abnormal to me. I am usually tired before my periods. I think a lot of women are. It does take a toll on your body, so I was feeling drained, and I also was out of the country, so I was also attributing it to jet lag, so it could have been a combination of both. And then also the implantation bleeding. So usually I do start spotting like a day or two before my period, which usually makes me think that my period is about to come. So at the time, I thought that my period was literally around the corner, but the bleeding stopped, so that's why I took the test. But yeah, so I think I experienced implantation bleeding maybe 3 or 4 days before I took the test, because my period didn't come, and mine usually comes like clockwork, so I knew something was up. Another symptom I experienced was night sweats. So I know that this is not really a common symptom that women experience, but I did see a few women, I think, on YouTube, and I possibly might have seen some websites talk about that as well. But I was getting like really like hot at night, but not to the point where, I don't know, I didn't really feel uncomfortably hot. You know, it was the summertime, but I was sweating like crazy. I'd wake up and like my bed would just be like moist, and I'm just like, what the heck? And the AC would be on, but I was still waking up like, I don't know if it's like a higher body temperature that pregnant women experience. I know that now that I'm in my 3rd trimester, I definitely get hot a lot easier and a lot faster than I did early on, but I don't know. Around that time, I definitely was experiencing some night sweats. So back to the fatigue, I was extremely tired in my first trimester. I feel like it wasn't necessarily like a sleepy tired, it was just feeling like drained and just very low energy. I don't think that I was having any trouble sleeping per se, it's just that I was just really drained. I definitely experienced some nausea, but not really too much vomiting. So I was experiencing nausea pretty early on, but that was paired with food aversions. I did not want to eat anything. Everything just sounded gross and disgusting. Nothing was appealing to me. And if it was something I wanted, it probably wasn't very healthy, but I was barely eating. So I actually didn't end up gaining any weight in my first trimester, which I definitely made up for in my second and third trimester, but I'll get into those in a different video. But yeah, and I did crave maybe like certain things. I remember one of the things I craved was Chick-fil-A, but when I had it, I was not impressed. It wasn't hitting the same. But yeah, like food was just not something that was on my mind, nor did I want. And then eventually the nausea kind of dissipated, but I did start having a few moments where I would throw up. But mostly it would be if I ate too fast, or maybe I drank water prior to eating or something, and like, I don't know if it wasn't mixing well. So when I would throw up, it would be after I started eating a meal or I just finished a meal and I'm fine, and then out of nowhere, I would just feel the need to throw up. So it wasn't necessarily me just feeling nauseous and I threw up out of, like I was expecting it. One of the times where I actually threw up, I was at a restaurant, and it was so weird because I had just finished these nachos that were so good to me, and then I drank some water, and out of nowhere, I just had to go throw up. And my boyfriend was like, "Oh, are you good?" And I'm just like, "I don't think so." And I just ran to the bathroom, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. I'm pretty sure whoever was in the stalls next to me was like, well, what the hell is going on in there? But yeah, other than that, I only threw up maybe 2 other times. Not at restaurants, thankfully it was at home, but nothing too crazy. I know that some women, they're throwing up all the time, which makes me feel really bad because it's not a great feeling. But for me, it wasn't that bad. I'll also say I did have to stop taking my gummy vitamins, which I'm probably too grown to be taking gummy vitamins anyway. I used to take the VitaFusion multivitamin for women, but the taste of that was disgusting, so I stopped taking those. But I did start taking prenatals anyway, which I think does act as a multivitamin on top of the nutrients that you need for the baby. The prenatal that I was taking was Nature Made, which I actually have here. This is what the bottle looks like. It says Nature Made Prenatal Multi plus DHA, 200 milligrams of DHA. And DHA is really good for the babies, I think, brain development and things like that. My boyfriend got this for me, and it had I can't even find the number, 150 soft gel pills in here. Since then, I have finished it since I'm in my 3rd trimester. So since I'm near the end, I got a smaller one of 60. And this one says folic acid and DHA, but I think they both have folic acid and DHA anyway. So it's essentially the same thing. I do hear that it's good to keep taking the prenatals a little bit after you give birth, so I might get another one. I'm not too sure. But they're pretty good. They're very big. I guess I can show you like what they actually look like. So this is what the pill actually looks like. It's just a big red pill. I'm not a huge fan of them, but you know, you have to take them. Another supplement that I'm taking is iron. I'm taking gummy iron supplements since my iron was kind of low. That's what they told me after one of my recent appointments, but other than that, I'm not taking anything else. So, as I mentioned, I did not experience any weight gain during my first trimester, but I was extremely bloated. And with the bloating, it makes you feel like you're showing, but you're really not. It's just a bunch of bloat or gas or whatever it is, and it just makes you look like you're showing, which for some people, maybe they are. I know some women who are on their 2nd or 3rd baby tend to show a bit earlier than women like me who are on our 1st. But yeah, I was extremely bloated, which was uncomfortable. I don't think bloating is comfortable for anyone, but that was something that lasted pretty much up until my second trimester. Another thing that I experienced only for a couple of days was nasal congestion. That's not a super common symptom, but I did have a couple of days where my nose was a bit stuffy and I thought I was getting a cold or something, but then like coincidentally my pregnancy app was telling me like, oh, I guess for that week, like certain things women can experience is rhinitis or something like that. I don't remember what it was, but something where you could experience like a stuffy nose. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. But it didn't last very long at all. So something that was not a symptom that I did experience was a UTI, which caused a lot of bleeding early on in my pregnancy, which is extremely scary for women who are in their for women who are in their first trimester. So as I was experiencing the bleeding, I was thinking of all the possibilities of what it could be. Again, if you watch my previous video on how I found out I was pregnant, I give a little bit more background on that experience. But long story short, I ended up going to the ER, which is where they diagnosed the UTI, and the doctor there prescribed an antibiotic, which cleared up the bleeding and whatever was going on down there within 3 to 5 days. But I did finish them off, I think after 7 days, and then everything was completely fine from then on. But yeah, that was extremely scary. If you ever experience any kind of bleeding that's heavier than spotting, or it's like super bright red, definitely go to the doctor, ER, call your OBGYN or whatever it is, because you want to make sure that nothing crazy is going on. But yeah, with the UTI, I was researching so many different things on like what it could possibly be. So Google is telling me that it could be a subchorionic hematoma. Obviously there's the M word, which, you know, I hate thinking about that, but that's always a thing too, where a lot of women experience that, you know, within the first, you know, 12 weeks or whatever it is, whatever the time frame is, until you're in the clear. So I'm thinking of all these possibilities, but thankfully it was just a UTI. Apparently pregnant women are a little bit more prone to it, since I think we have sugar, like a higher level of sugar or protein or something in our urine that can cause that. But I didn't experience any kind of itching or burning or whatever other symptoms that come with the UTI. It was literally just a bleeding. So I don't know if it's something that was in my system for a while and that's how my body reacted to it. I never had a UTI prior to that. So definitely that's something, you know, keep in mind if you are experiencing that. Another thing that wasn't necessarily a symptom is pregnancy anxiety and stress. So I don't necessarily want to say it was pregnancy anxiety and stress because it wasn't necessarily due to the pregnancy. I just personally had a lot going on in my personal life. One of the things being that my grandmother passed away, I think within a few weeks of me finding out. So that was extremely stressful. Obviously dealing with grief on top of dealing with a pregnancy is a lot. So that put a lot of mental and emotional stress on me and a lot of anxiety because the pregnancy was unexpected and her death was unexpected as well. At least for me, like I knew she wasn't in the best condition, but it just happened very quickly. So there was that. But yeah, with pregnancy, your hormones can really amplify the feelings of a lot of things that you're experiencing. So that was something that I was going through. So, you know, but overall, those are pretty much the symptoms that I experienced. A few other things to mention. I did get a pregnancy pillow really early. I didn't get it. My friend actually got it for me. She's so sweet. She got it for me, and I think I've been using it mostly in the second trimester and third trimester. So I was pretty prepared for that transition of my body being uncomfortable, but I was using it very early on. Other than that, the only thing I can mention is cravings. I didn't really have any in the first trimester. I just remember craving Chick-fil-A at some point and I did not like it. And that's pretty much it. I don't remember craving anything else in particular. Obviously, I had to get a OBGYN, so I had my first trimester appointment at 8 weeks. But they did not do like an ultrasound or anything. They just did like a blood test or urine test. I don't remember which one it was, but they did something, one of the tests, to confirm the pregnancy, and the OBGYN after that then I guess requested a ultrasound. But I did have an ultrasound when I went to the ER, which I don't think I mentioned. When I had the UTI, I had a vaginal ultrasound done, which is where I actually got to see the baby for the first time. And that was confirmation for me, at least, that there was a baby in there. But my OBGYN had to do one separately. And the only other thing I guess I should mention is that I was tracking my pregnancy and still am with a couple of different apps. So I was tracking with the What to Expect app, which is nice. Every week they give kind of a debrief of what you possibly could be experiencing, how the baby's growth should be doing, or possibly is doing, and also the size, the approximate size of your baby. And they use like different like fruits and vegetables to compare your baby to. So 1 week your baby might be the size of an apple, and then for the size of a squash or a cabbage or a carrot. So I think at this point I've seen almost every single vegetable and fruit that there is. But I've been using that. I've also been using the Pregnancy Plus app, which is pretty cool because they actually have like a simulation of a baby, which kind of shows what your baby could possibly be looking like in the womb. Obviously that is not your baby, so the face that's on that baby is not yours, but it is pretty nice to see like how big they're probably getting. And that app as well also does give, you know, little updates on the progression of your baby and like things that you could be experiencing as well. I was also using Baby Center. I'm not that big of a fan of Baby Center, but I do have it. I don't really check it as much though. But yeah, that's pretty much it for my first trimester recap. I'm not gonna lie, I had a very easy first trimester in the sense of what happened with my symptoms. I feel like my baby was very kind to me, which I'm grateful for. I don't think I experienced anything too abnormal aside from the UTI. And again, like I said, once the doctor prescribed me some antibiotics, I was perfectly fine from there on out. But yeah, I don't think anything too crazy happened. I wasn't feeling the best, but I didn't feel terrible. So, you know, I think that's pretty normal. I don't think anyone really feels the best in their first trimester. Usually a lot of women start feeling better, including myself, which I will be making a video about. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe so you can be notified of when I post that video. And I am in my third trimester now, so I won't really be doing a video on that until probably the very end. So again, subscribe if you'd like to see that too. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today. So if you guys have any comments or questions, I'd love to talk to you guys in the comment section. My social links are in the description box, so please feel free to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. And I feel like I'm forgetting something. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today. So if you guys have any questions or comments, I'd love to chat with you guys in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. So there's that. Am I forgetting anything? I think that's it. Since I'm filming this in my third trimester, I'll just include like a video clip or picture of me in my first trimester, because I don't really have a first trimester belly at this point to show you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.